My name is Steve Copeland. This video is for SDI course FTE 210 AR-10 Advanced Armor. The date is October 10th, 2021. So the AR-10 is lightweight, air-cooled, magazine-fed, gas-operated shoulder fire weapon that used a 7.62x51 cartridge. It was developed by a man named Eugene Stoner who worked for Armalite Incorporated in the mid-50s. They designed it to compete with the M14, and eventually they were trying to replace it as the government's standard duty weapon. It featured inline stock to keep reduced recoil rearward rather than the muzzle rising up, which would help in its auto mode. It featured a rotating bolt that was borrowed from a design by Melvin Johnson, and the direct impingement gas system was borrowed from the French MAS idea. So it was built using aircraft grade aluminum for the receivers and used polymer material for the furniture to keep the weight down, which is one of the ideas behind it. But the barrel was made with an alloyed aluminum that was steel lined, and it ruptured. One of the test rifles, the barrel ruptured on it during an endurance test, and the government said, "No, it's not a reliable weapon in our eyes," so they don't want it. So about 1957, Armalite sold the production rights to a Dutch company called Artillery and Rijksmuseum, who produced some models for Sudan, Cuba, Burma, and Portugal, who each had their own little variation to it, such as sleeve barrels, perforations in those sleeves for cooling, or some kind of provision for a bayonet. So AI made the improvements, sold them to those countries, and about around 1960-61, the Dutch export restrictions became such a hindrance that it turned off AI totally from the game, so they got out of it. Meanwhile, during this, about 1956 to 1959, Armalite was developing a smaller version of the AR-10, which would become the M16 or the AR-15, and would eventually become the U.S. government's combat duty rifle standard. But the AR-10 wasn't done. Eugene Stoner worked for a company called Knights Armament in the 90s, and at that time he developed a newer version of the AR-10 that used some of the same attributes of the AR-15, such as the charging handle, and kept it in a .308 7.62 caliber, and that caught the eye of the U.S. government, specifically the Special Forces community, who bought a few and developed them further into sniper weapon systems. And that is my story of the AR-10. Thank you.